Alright, what is up guys? Today we are going to do some things. If you like this video, be sure to share it. And even if you think this video completely sucks, be sure to share the channel with some of your friends. They might find something interesting. Sharing the videos really helps the channel grow. And the more we can grow, the more I can show. So let's get busy. It's been a little bit of a busy couple days with the weather and basically like 2 days of snow blowing. It was pretty intense. I'll show you some clips. Look at this drift. This is like half the size of the house. And this is all fun and exciting, but so it's supposed to be in the 40s and 50s in a few days. So that means all of the snow is gonna melt in like a week and just be a big mud pit everywhere. Got a little snow today, so we went for a little drive to see how bad it was outside. And the gas stations and the bars are closed, if that tells you anything about Wisconsin weather. This is why it can be a little bit dangerous. But just got done dropping off the drive shaft parts at the place that is going to be building the drive shaft. It sounds like they're kind of backed up, so I have a feeling this is going to take a while. Maybe like a week and a half. So hopefully we can get it done pretty soon and it's not going to take forever. Other than that, we got some other parts starting to come in and we can start working on that stuff. We're a little short on time today, which I don't know how that's really different than any other day, but we're going to do some simple stuff today. Some not very complicated things. And we're going to get the old oil out of here into our nice little Ace Hardware bucket. And we're going to check the oil because this is technically the first oil change since the first oil change. So this is the second oil change since the rebuild, basically. So get it, first one since the first one. I have a feeling the oil is going to look abnormally gray because of the cam lube that I put on it. I think somebody actually commented on that the amount of lube that I put on there is going to look ridiculous in the oil changes for a while because it's going to take a really long time to work it out. So I can see it already as it's coming out. It's pretty gray and streaky. But I'm really just going to be looking for metal. Big old metal chunks. This thing looks kind of goobery, but it normally does. Not really seeing any big chunks. There was a little chunk. So yeah, it definitely just looks like the cam lube that I put on there. That kind of sucks because I can't tell if it's a bearing that's completely destroyed or the cam lube. That sucks. But whatever. I guess we'll just run it and see what happens. I mean, it's not making any noise or doing anything weird, so holy moly, this is gonna be way too full probably. Let's figure something else out. Scramble, scramble, scramble. Oh man, too slow guys, too slow. I gotta eat more Wheaties, I guess. It's okay guys, the 25-pound bags of cat litter are only $3. Pro tip. If you hear any screaming coming from inside the house, once again guys, it's not a hostage. The kids are putting away laundry, so it can get a little feisty. So let's make an even bigger mess and dump this all over the floor. This is ridiculous. So another thing I want to do while I have this thing down is add some length to my turbo feed line. So right now I have my turbo feed line kind of ran in what I feel like is not a great spot. So my turbo feed is ran underneath, in between the log part of the manifold and my wastegate dump. So this is basically like sitting right on my manifold, and I feel like this is creating a lot of heat here and heating up my oil a little bit, because I can feel it, or I can see it basically when it starts up. My oil pressure and everything's good, and I'm not sure if this is actually a real oil pressure issue, but I have that oil pressure switch is at 30 psi. So when it's warm and it's idling, I can see the switch starting to kind of flicker a little bit, which means it's around 30 psi. So technically that's still good spec for the engine, but lower than I would like. And I'm thinking that it's because of this extra heat that's coming into the oil and it's getting too thin maybe. So we're gonna kind of replace this thing. Not really replace it, just extend it a little bit. I'm probably just gonna keep it hooked up where it's at. Pull it through this guy. If this will come through here. I might actually have to take my... I might have to take this... nope, I thought I was gonna have to take the coil packs off. So I'm gonna take this thing up and around somewhere. I have this little extendo here. I'm not exactly sure how I want to do this. If I want to go up and over. Let's try a couple things. Let's see what this looks like. So I just got like this little -4 coupler fitting thingy dingy. So maybe we'll go straight up. Straight up. Now tell me. Yep, using a pink wrench. Hey. I'm so awesome. I take tools out of my daughter's toolbox. I don't really know how this is going to work, but I'll kind of keep it out of the way. Actually, don't work too bad. I'll probably tighten that thing up and might just leave it just like that. So I might just eventually try to find a longer one and route it how I want it, but I think for now, what I want to do is just kind of keep it like this and out to the side, because I was also thinking of maybe doing like an oil pressure switch off of this coupler here somewhere. I have the pressure switch coming off of there, but I'd have easier access here than getting in the back of the intake, because if I want to access that for any reason, I have to take the intake off. So if I wanted to check oil pressure here, I could do that, and it'd be right before the turbo. So I don't know, just another thought, just another idea. I'm gonna check this thing out and tighten it. You guys are making me nervous. Man, jeez. Stop. I feel like I fumble around a lot more when I'm making videos. Which is like all the time, so that maybe that's part of my problem. I don't want to sit right. That might actually work pretty good. So now this is tucked completely back, up and out of the way. It should clear the intake and come around here. And then this will come down in between the exhaust and the compressor housing. And it should stay away from the heat. So I want to see if that's going to do anything. I was debating on changing the oil pump because I use that old oil pump. And it works really good until I'm driving it for probably like a half an hour, and then I see the thing starting to flicker when I'm at idle, which isn't a huge deal, but it's just enough that I feel like I wanted to do something about it. So yeah. All right, guys, so we got an option number 2 here for you. So before I had this 90 over on this side, and it kind of a little swoop-de-doo. Here I got the 90. It's actually touching the compressor housing a little bit, but instead of coming straight down, it comes over here, but this will be the cold side, so that's not going to get very hot. And then this comes over a little bit more, and it kind of has a little bit more ability to tuck, almost in a natural, more natural way. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Option 1 or option 2? This is option number 2. I think I could probably get this to stay up a little bit better here. I just have to worry about how the hood latch is gonna compress that thing, which it's not, unless it pops out like that, and then I do something weird with it. And if I secure this thing, I think it can follow the body line kind of nicely and then go right back down. What do you guys think? Other thing I want to do is take this oil pressure sensor out, and then my other little adapter fitting, and I'm going to replace all this Teflon wrap, thread wrap that I put on there, and replace all that with RTV. Just because I feel like it, I think it's leaking. It's kind of wet around here, so just while I have some downtime on it, might as well. Yeah, because like basically all that thread sealer is like gone. I think it's leaking around there. I have to use a socket. I think it's a 22? I don't know. Alrighty, boys. It was actually a 19. It wasn't a 22. It was way off. So I got this thing RTV'd up from the feet up. We're going to throw this thing in. This is just a M16 by 1.5 to -4 fitting. That's what I'm using, boys. One's not going to leak anymore. I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to do the... See, it's got this crap on it. I don't know why. I mean, it seemed like it worked pretty good for just the other fitting, but when I added this stuff, it didn't want to work. So, I don't know if it's just cheaper crap material or what. You can never really tell. Do the same thing, RTV this. This is the sensor. I'm going to make sure to get as much of the RTV as I can inside the hole so the sensor doesn't work anymore. That's how you know we're good. Now, I'll do the right thing and wipe this here. I was going to wipe it on my pants, but I felt like being a superhero. Wipe it on the other -4 down here. That's coming off the fitting on the bottom, and then I'll slam this Chinese piece of savior on here. Alright, now I'll hook my wire back up. I do gotta change this thing. I gotta add a relay to this to switch the switch the polarity for the signal on it. But I've just been watching the gauge kind of in reverse over the last couple weeks. So I know that when the gauge is all the way on low that it has oil pressure. But when it starts to show pressure, then it is getting low. But it, like I said, it usually only does it when it's really hot after I've been beating on it for a while. And as I start to come down to idle, like, I don't know, 800, 900 RPM. Man, this was a treat. Okay, now that that's all RTV'd, it should be more than good. It shouldn't leak anymore. It wasn't really leaking, but I could tell it was leaking. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's it for this one, guys. I got a little bit done in the short time that I had tonight. I think I'm just gonna be working on some like little piddly stuff like this over the next couple few days until I get the drive shaft back. That's really gonna be the big hang up. I think I'm gonna go with the stock torque converter again. I'm gonna put the stock torque converter back in. I'm kind of interested now after I get the drive shaft, because essentially if I put the torque converter back in, that would be back to the original budget build. I did change the fuel pressure regulator, but the pressure regulator is actually cheaper than the filter regulator that I had in there before. So that cuts about $40, $50 off of the cost. And putting the stock converter back in there, I'd basically be back to the original budget build. So I wanna take that to the track and at least get a time or see where I end up with that thing. And then maybe we can go from there with a different converter and then see what the differences are between the stock converter and whatever converter I go with. So let's do that. Have a good one.